New Mexico State and Liberty face off in the Conference USA Championship game, a game that features two teams that are having successful seasons. One wasn't surprising, the other certainly was. And these two teams played before, with Liberty coming out on top. And now we're wondering if New Mexico State has some tricks up their sleeve to pull off the upset. When you look at what the Aggies have done this year, Jerry Kill deserves a ton of recognition for his success. A 10-win season isn't what anybody had in mind. I don't think anybody really predicted that. And it's been really fun to watch. Now, it's been full of some drama with their quarterback in terms of some of the off-field things that he's done. But this has been a really fun team to watch. I think this is a team that a lot of people expected to be at the bottom of Conference USA and at the bottom of college football, and they have done nothing but exceed expectations. Now, when you look at who you have to pay attention to with this team, it starts with Diego Pavia. This has been one of the more exciting seasons for him and in New Mexico State history. Over 3,500 total yards, 28 touchdowns. I think when you're looking at this team, it runs through him. This offense has been really fun to watch. It's maybe not the most explosive, but you're looking at a team that knows how to put points on the board, and they have really shocked us over the last few weeks. When you look at their last three games that they've won, they beat Jacksonville State, a team that isn't eligible for Conference USA Championship game, that was competing for a chance to do that if they were eligible. They beat Auburn on the road convincingly too, 31-10. And they beat Western Kentucky, another team that a lot of people expected to be in this game. But it's New Mexico State that is here. It's behind an offense that's been really fun to watch, a defense that has exceeded expectations, which has kind of been a staple of Jerry Kill's teams. They have relied on a defense to be a good unit and play as a whole, and it's been really fun to watch. It's been a team that, like I said, a lot of people did not see this coming. A lot of people expected them to struggle. And Jerry Kill continues to prove that he is one of the better coaches in college football when it comes to turning around certain programs. He has done it at every stop that he's been at, and he continues to be a really fun coach to watch, an easy guy to cheer for. And it's been fun to watch his team step up this year. And there's certain guys that we've talked about already with Diego Pavia. Star Thomas has been a bright spot for this offense too. He's a versatile weapon that you can see in the open space. You can get him out in space and let him utilize his skill set, whether that's running the football, whether that's catching the football. I think that that is a good weapon to have on your team. And with teams focusing on Pavia so much, it's going to be easy for Thomas to find space to operate. And Liberty will have their hands full with him. And it's just a matter of how much this team can utilize their star player. On the defensive side of the ball, there's actually a number of players to highlight, but Keyshawn Elliott stood out the most. The leading tackler on the team, also leads the team in tackles for loss. He is someone who is a natural playmaker, a leader of that defense, and it's a good unit, but there are a couple players that do stand out, Elliott being one of them. Now, in their way is a Liberty team that is on a mission. It feels like nothing was going to keep them out of this game, and Jamie Chadwell's squad is doing exactly what we expected them to do. They're putting up an insane amount of points. They're running the football very efficiently, nearly averaging 300 yards per game on the ground. They're also throwing for over 200 yards. And there's one big reason for that. But this team as a whole is playing really well. It's an explosive offense. The defense isn't as dominant as the offense, but there are definitely a number of players to keep an eye on, a number of players that can make a big impact. And it feels like Liberty is just on a mission. They are a team of destiny to win Conference USA, and there's no reason to believe that they can't win this conference every single year that Chadwell is running the program. Caden Salter has been the biggest surprise for a lot of people, but the biggest reason why this team's had so much success. Over 3,300 yards, 42 total touchdowns. He does it with his arm and his legs. Dive more into him in a little bit. The offense has been explosive. There's been a number of players that have stepped up. They lost a couple key contributors on both offense and defense, but they've seen a number of guys step up. On the defense side of the ball, Tyron Dupree is having a monster year, 108 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. It's his best year of his career, and they needed him to step up. They lost a number of players up front. They needed someone at the linebacker position to contribute. And then from there, they needed guys on the defensive line to step up and replace certain players. Now, obviously, Kenny Charles was one that everyone had their eyes on. but there's other players that have stepped up as well, and that's also helped the defense. I think in the secondary, I should say. When you look at this secondary, there are a number of players that have picked off passes. I think it's pushing double digits of players that have picked off a pass. But the two guys that stand out are Brylan Green and Kobe Singleton. They've combined for 9 interceptions this year, and that makes life very difficult for the New Mexico State offense. And I think when you're looking at this matchup, there's no reason that you would say New Mexico State is a better team. And in fact, that's probably where they want to be. But Liberty is just so good. And when you look at the players they have running the show, it's easy to see why. Caden Salter, like I said before, really dynamic player, a dynamic dual threat. I think the running ability has really surprised a lot of people this year. I know I've been surprised, pleasantly surprised to see what he can do. 899 yards and 11 touchdowns as a runner, has 29 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. Coming into this year, we knew that Caden Salter and Jonathan Bennett would compete for the job. And I thought that Salter was the better option. And it clearly ended up being that way. It's just that I don't think we expected him to be as successful right off the bat. Jamie Chaswell's system can be a little confusing for a new quarterback, but Salter has proven he has everything under control. And it's been really fun to watch him in this system. Now, the passing attack is kind of on the back burner compared to the rushing attack. They want to run the ball first. When you have a guy like Quentin Cooley running the ball, it's easy to see why Salter's also a great option. But when you get to throw to a guy like CJ Daniels, it's easy to see why you want to throw the football. He's averaging almost 21 yards per catch on just 40 catches of the year. And the last time these two teams play, he had a big game. He only needed 4 catches to get 129 yards and score a touchdown. They need that kind of production again if they want to win this conference title. They want to make a statement in their first season, remind everyone why they picked this Liberty team to win the conference championship, and the offense will get that started. Kobe Singleton, we talked about him, 4 interceptions on the year. He has been placed against a number of quality matchups, and he's appeared to have thrived in each of those matchups. He's a really fun player to watch. Not saying that New Mexico State has the most electric playmakers, but if they do not shut down that passing attack, then New Mexico State is going to feel like they are in this game. And that's exactly what Liberty doesn't want. They do not want to give New Mexico State the feeling that they are in that game. They don't want to give them hope because right now, New Mexico State is one of the hottest teams in college football, and Liberty can't afford to keep them in this game. When it comes to picking this game, you have a team who's playing lights out and playing out of their minds right now in New Mexico State. You have another team in Liberty that is playing at a high level and has done so all year. I think that Liberty wins this game. I think that they're just a better team. And when you look at what happened in the previous game, it's obviously a long time ago, so things have drastically changed. I think it's a closer game, but I do think that Liberty is too much to handle.